Welcome back, YouTube. It is another WUTANG Wednesday or WUTANG Wednesday. This is Protect Your Deck, episode 3. I'm here with Tuck. If you don't know who Tuck is, stop this podcast right now. Go to episode 1, get your life together, download Fab Life, and he's going to get the proper introduction there. For those who know Tuck, or just listened to episode 1 and came back because you listened to me, welcome back. With me today, because there's 3 of us here, we have a good friend of mine, another teammate, Dylan, a.k.a. the Draconic Doombringer, a.k.a. Hi Joe Kids, Hi Joe Wife, Hi Joe Mask of Momentum, Tomultai's coming, a.k.a. what the hell is a blue card? Whether he's on fire, Dromai, you're catching these hands, and he's painting the town as red as his deck. AKA, if you came in 30th place or above at the Dallas Calling, hold my beer. This dude took 29th overall and played on stream. It was a good game. Watch it. AKA, I gotta walk this out, bro. AKA, the only man who makes playing fight look almost as cool as Katsu. AKA, the real Jon Snow. Get out of my goddamn face, Kit Harington. This dude is the real assassinator of the mother of dragons. I'm sorry, Mara. What up, Dylan?
Yo, what's up? It's good to finally be on, man. This is awesome.
You throwing Mara under the bus right at the start like that? Damn, man.
What's up? I had to. Mara, it's love. You know it's all love. We love Mara. We're going to get into that, actually.
Yeah.
While my heart rate comes down. Dylan, you did an amazing job at the Dallas Calling. You got to play against Mara. We just shouted her out. You got to play on stream, and you came in 29th in a room full of killers. What was that like? Like, what was the experience like? Because, again, I always like to do like a little intro for people who don't know you. Mara knows you, but for those who don't, what was it like playing at like that high of a level, playing on stream, but also playing like against people like Mara and people who have more, like there's a lot of people watching those games, you know what I mean? Like, what was your experience like at the Calling, and what was it like to be on stream? And like the crazy part is you didn't even play Mara on stream, so you played Mara and then played on stream or vice versa. But what did it change the game? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so I actually brought Dromai to the Calling for Dallas, and like last second I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm playing Fi. So I put my CNCs in, and I think my other cards that I shared between the decks. And, it was a Lexi heavy meta. So it was like, I thought I was going to go in there and punt like every match. Because I always get paired into Lexi. It's just my luck. Every time. And I actually did get paired into a lot of Lexis at that Calling. But instead of losing, I beat them. I think I went like 6-2 into Lexi over that weekend, which was kind of crazy with Fi. Making day 2 was awesome. The match for Mara, I was like, the headspace was there. I was super focused. I kind of knew what her list would be like because I subscribed to her Patreon, so I kind of had some insider information. And know exactly. And I play Droma myself, so I kind of know what to expect. Kind of talking back to your last episode, playing the deck that you would typically maybe not have a great matchup in, or do have a great matchup in. Learning the other deck is awesome, and you really get some good insight. So that was good. We had a great match. It was pretty close. I think I had a really good turn with mounting, or I think it was mounting into a dragon, banishing rising resentment, getting the +1, and then hitting another dragon and then banishing another 1 cost. So it was a really clean play at the end. That was a great match. Mara's super cool. Shout out. The next match.
I was doing the intro and I was like, oh my god, I could like blast Kit Harington because I know he watches the podcast.
Right.
And I was like, I have to mention this because it was just such a cool moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was cool. So we love Mara though. We love Mara.
Yeah. I actually talked to her at the event. Super cool. Super nice. Following that match, I got paired into another Dromai. That was the one on stream. I was ready to do it again. I was like, I just played this match. I'm ready to go. I just got to do what I did just a last match. But unfortunately, the Dromai was rolling hot, back-to-back tomes, Nourishing Emptiness, Had the perfect D-reacts on my Vortex. But it was a good match. I would definitely recommend people to check that out. I think it was recorded. The Dallas Calling video should be on YouTube. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. After the loss, I felt okay. Like I didn't take it to heart or anything like that. It was still a fun game. My opponent was super cool. I wiped it clean from my head, went to the next match, and performed really well. Yeah, it was great. It was cool being on stream. A little nervous initially, just because that was my first time on stream at like a big event, and making day two. I was pretty close to like making top 12 or 15 or 16, whatever the cutoff was for the next payout bracket. Yeah, it was super cool. And The rest of my day, for day two, I played another Lexi. I fatigued myself mentally during that match. Could have got that match, but I lost that one. And then to end the day, I ended against a Bravo, took that match. Great matches overall. Had a lot of fun swapping to fly last minute. I didn't really have big expectations until Lexi meta. But I was able to pull off 29th, get a little payout, and yeah, celebrated with team. It was great.
What a hype weekend, man. Because, like, the two of you guys, there's a reason I put you guys above me on this one, you know what I mean? Like the Brady Bunch style. Like, yeah, the two of you guys crushed it that same weekend, man. It was so hyped. Everyone else that scrubbed out got to watch you. I just love, I love that you, said that you were a little nervous. You think it made you play a little bit better? Like, playing against people like Mara playing on stream. And, I mean, everyone was got up against a bunch of killers, but making day two and going the distance like that, like 29th in that room was, like, insane. So it was, like, the who's who of Flesh and Blood. It was, like, every time I looked over to who you were playing, it was like, wait, I know that guy, which means, like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't played that long. I don't know that many people in this scene, so it's like, oh my, I know all the people that he's playing. So, do you think it made you play better?
Definitely made me, put that pressure on me. So it definitely made me play better. I rewatched the video. Maybe there's some things I could have done a little differently, but I had no knowledge until the cards were played on their side. So I think I played it pretty cleanly, or best of my ability. But yeah, you definitely feel the pressure, or at least I did. Maybe it's because it's my first time being on stream, and that made me want to play better because I knew I was on stream. I knew I was like representing myself and my team, and all the practice that I put into this game, all the time I put into the game, like led up to this moment. Even though it's not that big of a deal, but being on stream is pretty cool.
It is. You can say it's not that big of a deal, and that's why Tuck and I are here to be like, yo, come on, man, chill.
I still think it's worth singing praise of the fact that you don't specialize in one hero, you focus kind of on two, and even though it's the same talent, you have the duality of like a hard control deck and a balls to the wall aggro deck, and pivoting back and forth when you prepared for an entire tournament, months in advance with this one tournament, and went, Fi's right here, he's right behind me, he's got my back, and last minute pivoting. And then taking down Lexi after Lexi after Lexi as you are the Lexi magnet, it shows a lot of experience, and being able to pivot between the two is really, really impressive and part of this journey that should be praised.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Draconic Dealbringer, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I was like,
watch out for that third Draconic hero. God.
I wish.
So today's episode is going to be everybody loves these. Everybody loves these. We're not going to do a graph and all that because we're not editing. We're going to do Meta Predict, though. And for those, I'm going to be very open. We actually are recording this on WUTANG Wednesday, but it's not the WUTANG Wednesday that's coming out. Actually, this is like a surprise episode. We're going live with this a week from today, so we're breaking the bi-weekly thing. We are recording this on the 24th of January. The reason I'm saying that is because we're going to talk about meta predictions and stuff, and some of those opinions might change within the week that this comes out. But we've been, Blood Rush fellows, if you guys haven't been proxying your cards, I'm talking about good quality proxies. These guys are running out to Office Depot on the regular. They know Tuck's first and last name. They're like, yo, welcome back. What cards do you need? We have been labbing it hard. And I'm not saying we know what we're talking about, but we put some thought into this. Some of these things can change, and I feel like they're changing daily, and with card games that happens. But today's episode is going to be, I brought these guys in because they know about the meta more than I do. I need to bring in the experts when I don't know what I'm talking about. Most of the time, I don't know what I'm talking about. So I wanted to bring these guys in so that we can all have this conversation about what the meta is looking like so far, what we can kind of predict, how we feel about some of the new cards. We're going to do like hot takes and stuff like that. But Tuck, I'm gonna gear this one towards you. It is Guardian coming out. How do you feel about specifically the Guardians, Bravo included? But there's some new stuff that's coming out with Betsy and Goldem. People are calling him, right?
Man, I wish. Oh, I wish he was that good.
How do you feel like? What's your read on that? And then we'll kind of go broader picture and we'll talk about like everything.
Let me start by saying, I think LSS did a really good job of designing 2 new Guardian characters that have a lot of personality in their designs, and the gameplay reflects that personality. They are both really fun decks to play, and in that sense, I think they succeeded. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about competitive meta. What can I win a calling with? Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with the hard news. I don't think Betsy is it. I do not think Betsy can win a calling. She's not a bad deck. She is one of those decks that you can take to an armor. You can take down an armor. You can be the menace of your local area. But when you go up against like a Mara Faris, a Michael Fong, like any of the big names, you will probably just get hosed because of fundamental downsides to the deck. And that's pretty unfortunate. By that, I mainly mean wagering as a mechanic, as your entire engine like running the deck. If they block with anything that isn't action cards, you get hosed and you kind of just lose. It's really hard for you to get an edge and get a lead and take it and continue to run with it. So against some decks, you're great, but against other decks, you're just going to lose. And there's enough of those that block well into the overpower mechanic that it seems really tough for her to be like the one to really like give a good showing.
It seems like that's almost feels like anti-Guardian too, because when I play you anyway, it feels like there's not like one clear way to shut you down, and no matter how many cards I take out of your hand, especially now on this Victor guy, it's like you'll have one card left in your hand, you're like send an attack for 14 somehow. Mm-hmm. So it feels like
I cheat. It's that simple.
Yeah,
pull cards out the sleeve.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why more people don't do it.
It just feels it feels like that Betsy game plan or being able to shut down Guardian that easy is like anti-Guardian, because that's kind of not.
Well, if you're like this mid-range control type mindset, like I personally am, in playing Guardian, you see Wager as a way to say, hey, like, please give me blocks. It's a fun class because we have ways to demand or at least suggest that you block. And so when, you wager a gold and they block and they say, ha, I got a gold, but you got half their hand, you go, okay, that's a pretty even trade. But Betsy, you're like, I need to win this wager to get my stuff online. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where it seems to break down. That's where the idea falls apart. But Victor seems a lot more potent. Clashing as an engine is flawed, but very good and very consistent. His matchup spread is polarizing, so the matchups where they have big attacks and your clashes aren't going to be as successful, so I'm talking Brute, Guardian, Illusionist, and maybe Assassin, are going to be tougher. You take out the Clash, you're kind of just weaker Bravo there, but you're still a Guardian, so you're strong enough. But into basically everything else, so Warrior, Ninja, Runeblade, like all these other classes where you'll just win Clash after Clash after Clash, man is he strong. He doesn't have the big numbers and disruption that Bravo has, but what he makes up for that with is these block clashing cards where he's getting surprise tokens, surprise gold, block 4, make tokens, draw the card off the top. I haven't expended anything, but I'm blocking one of your like snatches, which is a big like breakpoint attack. So he has these momentum tools to really play like a 1-cycle game, whereas Bravo wants to play this slower, like 2-cycle more control. I'm okay dumping my hand for 5 turns in a row to set up a clapback, whereas it's fun to be more like, no, if I'm pitching this and it's turn 5 or later, I'm not coming back to it. Let's fucking rock. Get my gold, set up the late game while I'm chipping you down with machos. His hammer is solid. I don't think Victor is a fatigue deck. I've seen a lot of people talking about fatigue Victor, and I think it's possible. But personally, I think that Bravo would fit that build better. And if you're not building around gold or clashing, then why are you building Victor? All in all, I think he's really fun. And with his matchup spread, adhering to most matches being good, the big attacks being bad, but then you can just play bad Guardian into them. It seems like he is much more capable of being like a top competitive deck, roughly on the level of Bravo, but with a different matchup spread. So I think whether you take Bravo or Victor will come down to either playstyle choice or how you are predicting the meta.
All right, so if you guys are playing Guardian, listen to this guy, which means if you're playing Betsy, you're fucking up.
And Bravo, I don't think Bravo changes much. He got new tools. You could do cool things with them. I think running like a big, like more dominate focus list with money or talk a big game to make might tokens and things could be cool. But mostly it's just going to be the same Bravo we all know and love.
Do you think that either of them are going to... So you think that... So you're saying... We talked about the 3 Guardians, right? Like Betsy might be down here, and then you got Bravo and Victor here, and it depends on how the meta like shapes out. But do you think both of them could do well if you bring them to like LA? And let's talk. I'm gonna say, instead of talking hypotheticals, all our team, everyone is really getting ready for LA. I know there's like one, I think, in Hartford coming up, but the main format for that, the calling is draft. The only they have a CC happening, but it's a battle hardened. So we will get some stats, but it won't be like the best players playing in that CC. So the stats might be like a little, they might not mean as much. A lot of people have their eyes on LA. So you're saying that you think Bravo or Victor could be a good LA choice?
Yeah, I really think depending on what decks you expect to be more popular in that meta is how you determine Bravo versus Victor. But I think both are very potent and capable of being like a deck to bring and top with.
Dope. All right. So the reason that we originated on this podcast is because I go to Dylan with a lot of questions because he has like a lot of insight into past metas and how like when these things got released, this is kind of how the meta went, and whether it be like a rock, paper, scissor or like this triangle meta or like you're either playing this or you're losing type thing. These guys have been playing for much longer than me and they have that insight, which is why we're definitely going to do an episode on the value of having a team. I wouldn't know 20% of what I know if it wasn't for you guys. So find yourself a Tuck and find yourself a Dylan. I went the wrong way because it's backwards. So Dylan, now let's talk about everything else. So how do you feel? And we'll stay with the new stuff before we break out into like what the meta looks like overall. What do you feel like? How do you feel about the Brutes and the Warrior stuff that's getting introduced to this set? And how would you kind of rank them just in and of themselves, like in a vacuum? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we'll start with the Brutes. So Rhinar, he did get some cool tools. He got a new arm piece, which is like a big block for him. Other than that, I think his deck may stay the same. The typical big attacks. He may run some beat chess cards. Those seem pretty solid. But I don't see his deck changing much. KO, the new Brute, however, seems to be going rampant right now with a bunch of different builds. I know was it Cast Bones, that Majestic?
That card,
yeah.
Justin hit me with that, and Dylan. Both
It's
these guys,
good.
not you, Dylan. The other, we got two locals. Dylan Searin and Justin. I don't know
three.
Justin's last name, but
Yeah. I was speculated first on KO before that card was revealed. I was like, I think it'd be okay. It's going to be an okay aggro deck. But when that card was revealed, I think it gives it more another push. It brings it to another level.
What Wes was telling us is it's not only a very strong card, but it's a one-card play that Brute desperately needs. Instead of pitching a Loose and Claw for 3, you're saying, here's like 5 Might tokens. Oh no, I made one with. To then clap back super hard, and it's just a lot more valuable of a one-card play that you had access to before.
I brought up Turbo Time before, right? Turbo Time. The amount of times people hit me with this on turn 0 is like crazy. I almost want to bring in no mask, no headpiece against Dromai to be like, when they do it, I'm like, ha! Yeah, what are you going to take? Is there a better turn 0 play than Cast Bones currently?
Oh, yeah.
What's better?
Dominate anything like with Bravo.
Dominate any what?
Oh, so you're talking Brute.
No, I mean overall. Like,
overall.
Cast Bones has to be up there as like one of the best turn 0 plays you can do. Maybe not the best, but like playing a card, having 27 mites on your next attack and passing is like I feel like my win percentage went down like 15% when they played it on turn 0. That card is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think KO's going to be well positioned. I didn't think initially he'd be like that well positioned. I thought he may struggle into like Dromai because of the lack of poppers they have in their deck. But they've adjusted. I've seen decks with like a ton of poppers because Cast Bones is just so good with a big attack. So I think KO's pretty well positioned. I think he's pretty. He may be just as good as Spy or maybe better.
Just in terms of like raw damage percentage.
In terms of raw damage, yeah. I've seen. I haven't done any testing, but I've stayed up to date with the Discord and the FI group chats, and he's presenting a problem. Some FI players are actually switching to KO because of
Traitor.
freaking Victor.
Interesting.
Traitor.
Because of Victor, man. Victor, man. Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
KO
doesn't
really
have
is
game
like-
in Victor?
Dude, KO is Victor's natural counter. He just like revealing two CNCs and him being like, "So I win. What do I get?" is so demoralizing on Victor.
What was the
Yeah.
matchup like for Dromai prior? So like Brute into Dromai before was favored for who?
Oh, Brute, it's like a 30-70.
For Brute?
For Rhinar favored. Yeah, Rhinar favored.
Oh, so you're saying that
Yeah.
KO might actually be talk of contention because like Dromai is definitely like if your deck doesn't beat Dromai, don't bring it to a big event. Like it's kind of like a deck check, right? Like you can't.
Yeah.
Dromai is represented enough and kind of changes the game plan of how you have to play so much that like if your deck doesn't do well against Dromai, then like it's why everyone
Yeah.
scratches their head when an Azuri makes top 8 because you're like, did they just dodge every Dromai?
Yep, bobbing and weaving,
Yeah.
zigging and zagging.
Yeah.
Which is not a good game plan. If you're going to LA and you want to be competitive, Dromai
Yeah.
is like something that you definitely. I mean, these guys were labbing the matchup back and forth yesterday because Tuck was on Victor, and that was like one of the matchups that he really, really, really wanted to make sure he had a game plan for. If you don't have a game plan for Dromai, your deck is not very good.
Well, that's the
in
thing,
this
man.
area.
When we're talking about metas coming up, Dromai is one of those decks that the deck builders are resilient. They are constantly morphing and changing and evolving. And like, what if instead of Ghostly Touch, we do this? What if instead of Control, it's Dragons? Somehow they're an aggro and a control and a board state deck all in one. They are constantly changing. And that means you, on whatever other hero, need to know what your game plan is into the Dromai deck of the month. Because they're always stronger than they were in the past. And so if you don't keep up with your Dromai homework, every couple months you have to say, hey, Dylan, I need some games. Meet me at the game store and let's play.
Yeah.
And bring the 5 different versions of Dromai that people are running.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I got beat at Dallas. Speaking about Dallas, by a pre-med Dromai.
What?
Pre-med? Yeah, some Dromais are
It's a red
ready
card.
to-
You
yeah.
get go again.
Bro,
Yeah.
he was like
What else do
he
you
was like
need?
E-strike for 24, go again on hit ponder. I was like, cool, I think I lost this game, dude.
Oh my god.
So while we're on the topic of Dromai, are we assuming Dromai is a good pick? Is still going to be meta? Is still like as relevant as like if your deck doesn't beat Dromai or have an answer to Dromai, you're in trouble?
Yeah, I think Dromai's still gonna be relevant, and I think, like Tuck said, there's a lot of believers in Dromai that'll spend a lot of time trying to figure out both the aggro and defensive build. So I would expect both of those to still be around. KO, if KO's a high showing, then Dromai may lose some points and may become less, represented. But I would expect Dromai still be around. Still a very strong deck. It can do a lot of things. I can switch game plans, which is really good too. But I would definitely expect Dromai to be there still.
So to loop back around, I'm curious, how does Dromai typically do into Warriors before and after the new stuff?
Yeah, so Dory was probably the most like skill expressive match for Dromai. It's a long grueling match, and you really have to play it the right way because if you're just summoning dragons, then you're gonna lose.
Why
I
is that? 'Cause
suspect
they could just get like
just-
it's a ton of Dawnblade counters and then
Yeah,
send
yeah,
it to
yep.
you?
They
let
just
them
farm. Yep, they farm their Dawnblade up to like 10 and 12 with 3
So they
card
hit level
reaction.
3.
Wait, no way.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
highest you've ever
Talent tree.
seen? Okay, so before you knew how to play this matchup, when you were on Dromai, what is the
Yeah.
most that like Christian or another good Dorinthian? What was the most stacks on Dawnblade you've seen?
I think Christian got to like 7, so 7 base. And then when you add like 4 or 5 more cards in hand, that give you +3, maybe 4.
Cue the John Cena
you know,
You scoop at that point. You say, let's run it back.
Yeah. You're like, all right, yeah. You learn real quickly. You gotta like not summon dragons crazily. It has to be well positioned to summon. You have to be well positioned to summon a dragon. But speaking about the meta coming up and the new cards, I think Dory did get some good cards. So I suspect she'll be a bit tougher with Dromai. I think Dromai may have a little bit of a harder time with that matchup, just with the new cards. But I think it'll still be pretty close. I don't think it's going to be like too heavily favored either way. It'll still be really close.
What about Kasai? It's Kasai.
Kasai?
Right?
Oh, yeah, Kasai. Yeah, so I ran a game with Christian yesterday, and it's a tough time for Kasai, unfortunately. As soon as I see a tome and I get like 3 dragons out, it's Kasai has no game into that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Azuri Dromai matchup where they just can't board clear efficiently while trying to take cards from my hand.
Is it that bad?
Um,
Is that bad for Kasai?
yeah, I
Or
didn't
it
block at
felt
all.
yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, all this can change, guys.
Yeah. I didn't start blocking until like, maybe 12 life points, and that's because I was just preserving life and still summoning dragons. But it seems pretty bad. I don't know if maybe he can add some cards. Oh, he didn't have any poppers in deck. Maybe if he had a couple of poppers, that may help
Not
a
even
bit.
nourishing.
No, he wasn't running nourishing either.
But
Oh
even
my
though it's
gosh.
like that's 3, right? I mean, like how many they
Yeah.
can run like 6
Yeah.
at most? Where they're gonna run like CNC and nourishing, and that's it.
Well, you can run
Yeah.
like yellow Dolls would probably help a lot, just to have yellows that get into grave that you can banish.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe like three to six is
Mm-hmm.
what I guess Dory would typically run. But I still think it's very tough for Kasai because Dawnblade is what made it very, very competitive for Warrior. Not having Dawnblade is um, a big loss on the Kasai side. Not having a weapon
So
like that.
it's hard to get sabers to 4 for like the mirror guy and stuff too. Just
Yeah,
needing
exactly. Yeah,
weapons.
you have to basically buff a card, pitch a card. That's 2 cards for a dragon right there. To kill a mirror guy or some high health dragon.
I
So
played an ancestral one time on a card to kill a dragon, and I'm telling you, it felt like I lost a part of my soul. I never want to do it again. You know what I mean? So I can't imagine like +3 to kill this dragon. It's terrible because those are the combat tricks that you want to like get your opponent with. You don't want to play them face up and be like, oh, this is my play.
yeah. Yeah, you don't want to use your blood on your hands turn to just clear field.
I mean, you want
that. Yeah.
all right, yeah.
But yeah, I think Kasai still be really good into the overall meta. She's a really good mid range deck, yeah, I think she's going to be a lot of fun and very well represented at these big events. I think a lot of people are going to play Kasai. I think she's going to be the new Dromai in terms of like popularity. I think a lot of people are just going to play it because she's
I can see
cool.
that.
But
Like
in-
Dromai, she's
but
really
in
flexible. You can
popularity,
build
like-
her a lot of ways.
Yeah, Dromai's
Yeah,
popular,
and she's
but
flexible, yeah.
Dromai's good though. Is Kasai going to be level of popular, but not as? Because
I
the
think
thing
so.
Is, like, yeah.
I think so. Because Dromai, the reason why Dromai is really good is because of her flexibility. You can build her, defensive, aggro. You can switch game plans mid game. I think Kasai has that same. Can be played the same way where she can
That's
be.
why Oldhim. That's
Yeah.
why Oldhim never went away because he would always just adapt to whatever form of a mid-range aggro defense he had to. And I
Yeah.
think Kasai is that same way where she can fit wherever on that spectrum she has to be well positioned in the meta.
Yep.
And Olympia just seems like supposedly everyone's talking about how LSS said, "Oh well, you got the payoff in the next set." Maybe we'll see. He doesn't seem bad, but there really doesn't seem to be much payoff to wagering other than doing it in the reactions, being like, "Gotcha."
So for
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to build Olympia. Yeah.
Right. He seems cool. The aesthetic
Seems
is
cool.
awesome. But
So-
like competitive gameplay, I don't know if it's there for like a calling level winner.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so if we're looking at like the winners of the heavy hitter set, we think it's KO, Kasai. I would throw Dory in there maybe. Like so Warriors in general, so say Kasai and Dory got a lot of love. That makes them better into some matchups. We say KO looks pretty promising, and like I think what Tuck was saying too also has
Victor.
that flexibility of leaning maybe more mid-range or aggro or whatever like it wants to do. And then we would say Bravo is still good, but maybe didn't get that much love from heavy hitters, but just is a solid deck still.
Yep.
They didn't take anything away from him, still good. And Victor's looking good, and then we would say that maybe like the wah wah is like Betsy and Olympia, and I guess we get the Reinar. I mean, Reinar just got a
Reiner's not bad. So
Yeah, he's not bad. Still good.
Reiner's in that same spot where like predicting the meta. If you think the meta is going to be a lot of warrior, a lot of guardian, and a lot of like illusionist, like a very mid-range dominant meta, Reinar is a great deck. His time to shine is now.
I agree.
Any other time where like Fi exists or like Runeblade exists, Reinar is just gonna crumble. And so he got more tools. He's still a good deck, but he's only going to be a calling choice deck if the meta's right or if you just like him. Whereas Betsy and Olympia seem like no matter what the meta is, they just are not going to work out.
Okay, so if we go who got the most love, it'd be everyone I said, and then maybe the middle is Reinar by himself. and then
Right.
on the
He's
bottom,
he's
we're
still
talking
just
like-
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
by
Yeah.
association.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Like Bravo, by association.
Yeah, yeah,
Same with
right,
Dory,
yeah.
by association. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so let's open this conversation up. Then let's talk about let's talk about the impact of heavy hitters on everything that wasn't heavy hitters. We already talked about Dromai a little bit, and let's categorize everything now. I know we don't have like a sheet up. Oh, we lost Tuck. I'm gonna wait for
Oh,
Tuck
no.
to come back. Tuck, you there?
Sorry.
No, you're good. And he's back.
There he is.
Blame Lemon. It's always the cats.
so I've watched, dude. You know how I love horror movies. There's too many horror movies that start this way. It comes back, it's just black, Tuck's missing. And as long as it's just a
You're
cat,
screaming
not a
in the background.
Yeah, as long as it's a cat, not a poltergeist. I'm good, dude. So we talked about Dromai, and we'll do like S tier, which is something that, let's say, super strong. Then we'll say A tier would be like everything that's good and you could bring, but maybe isn't as strong. And then we'll just put everything else into everything else, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about some of this stuff. We said Dromai is still good. We think Dromai is like S tier. We think Dromai maybe just like a solid like A tier.
S potential.
S potential?
I think a lot of the flexible decks are going to be S tier right now.
Hell yeah.
It's so hard to say what the
Just like-
meta is going to pan out to be. That I
Yep.
think the decks that are most flexible are going to be very good early on.
They're just the
so-
easiest to adapt to whatever form the
Exactly.
meta takes.
Yep.
So that
Yep.
Dromai, that Kasai, that Guardian in general.
Mhm.
Honestly, if anything, I think our local Garrett Schuster just showed us that Phi is a very flexible deck. Just all of these that you can build them along that spectrum are looking good.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think when you guys say flexibility, you think in terms of what the deck can do in the game itself, or how you can build the deck if you have your whole binder?
Yeah,
Your
how you-
different game plans.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the sideboard flexibility, like Dromai can, 60 cards can be like aggro or big dragon. And then the other sideboard cards can be the reverse, aggro or big dragon. So having that flexibility to, kind of play your deck the way you want to into certain matchups, more matchups overall kind of helps those decks.
Sideboard
That's
is
why I
so
think those
important,
decks-
dude. Sideboard
yeah.
is so important. As a new player,
Yeah.
when I first came in, I was like, I got like 10 extra cards, and I was like, and I was showing up to armors like a lean 60 no matter what, and I was like, this is. The
Yeah.
sideboard is way more important than I thought. So I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the other classes that weren't in there. So we're talking about Five. Let's talk about this, how Ninja fits into this this new upcoming meta that seems like you need to
Tell us
block.
about Katsu. Tell us about Katsu.
Yeah, how's Katsu doing, man? I didn't see any of this. I saw that crazy line yesterday, but
I'm telling you guys.
How about-
I was gonna go on hot takes, and maybe this is my hot take. I think Katsu is the ninja to bring if you're gonna bring ninja. When the world's meta came, I said if you're gonna play ninja, you play Fi, because a lot of the meta was decks that Fi just had a better matchup spread into. And if you don't play Katsu or Fi, or you don't play Ninja, it's very easy to be like, oh, they probably have similar matchup spreads, or one might be more favored, but if one is favored, then the other one is favored. And with Katsu and Fi, it's pretty interesting because like Fi into Bravo is Fi favored, but Katsu into Bravo is Bravo favored, and the matchup plays a lot differently. With that new blue card, Ancestral Harmony, and how we're able to build the deck as Katsu, I think Katsu is the fastest deck in the format currently. I think it's faster than Fi. I think it presents more on hits where you want to block. And if I just think we did some testing yesterday, and I've been playing around with some new builds on Katsu. It's pretty crazy. I mean, off of two attack reactions that were both Ancestral Harmonies, Ancestral Empowerments, and one Ancestral Harmony. So I had 3 cards. I presented a full bonds line with +1 and all that stuff because of like the line.
After getting crushed by a crippling crush, right?
Simon hit me with a crippling crush dominate into Starstruck dominate into crippling crush dominate. It was like 24-8. And I ended up coming back, and I actually took the game off of him. And yeah, man, Katsu's in a spot. The one thing I think where he is at a disadvantage is exactly what you guys just said. For Katsu to be good in the next upcoming meta, I think it's all gas.
Exactly.
Which,
Yeah.
which
Great
gives
aggro.
less of that flexibility of like.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think, and I agree with you guys. We talked about this, and we've had some disagreements on like what the meta might look like and things like that. But it makes sense now that we're doing this episode, because if your deck can't be flexible, the one thing it does, it better be damn good at, or else you're gonna get chewed up.
Yep. You better have one bad matchup and then a bunch of good ones.
Yeah. Or just
Yeah.
like your deck better be so good that it doesn't need to be flexible. And some of that gets like, everyone uses the term agency. Like, I do feel like I lost a little bit of agency with Katsu, where I'm not able to pivot or make a sideboard that is like gives me multiple plans. But oh my god, I mean, even against Wes's Dawnblade Dory, I didn't block at all, and I think Katsu can get built in a way where you're asking your opponent, I'm not going to block, so you have to keep up with me. And if the opponent doesn't have an answer to that, I think it could be like...
Sounds like Fi.
Yeah, I think it could, yeah, but I think Fi, slowed down a little bit just because they can't play Ancestral Harmony. I think that card is better. And I thought when it got printed, or I saw it in the Discord, I was like, someone's messing with me. There's no way this is an actual card. There's no way. I was like, someone in the Katsu Discord made this card and it's like, haha, it's hilarious. And then I saw it on the website and I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, I thought this was like a ninja. All right, I didn't know that this was like a ninja set. That one card is so crazy, and it opens up so many different lines that I think Katsu's going to be good. It's a matter of solving that question. Can he go fast enough into all the stuff that, like, obviously LSS wants the wager and wants the what's the other mechanic? Just not wager, the clash. Right? Yeah, they want a lot of this interaction, and like, if your deck instant loses to that, which Katsu does, like, you're ass tuck. We have labbed the Victor matchup. You will never win a clash. Never.
Yep.
That's not true.
Well, you have
Victor
to whiff
Victor
and
can
not
whiff
have gold.
to himself, not to you, but he can lose to himself.
Twice, though. As long as if you have the gold, then you just fix it. So it's very, very hard to win the clash. And all the on-hits with wagering, the deck doesn't block very well. It has a lot of 2 blocks. And again, we're going all in on this like aggro package. So you're going to lose those. Your deck has to be fast enough that it doesn't care if you lose the clash and the wagers. And I think Katsu is there. So I'm hopeful for Katsu. And personally, if I'm not on Katsu, I don't know, man. Victor's looking kind of nice.
That's the matchup that Ninja's
really
scared
fun.
of, man.
And
Ninja's scared of Victor right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Katsu can get there. As Katsu, I'm more scared of Bravo still. Bravo still presents, because the difference is if you're against Victor, if they send like a Spinal or something that's disrupted. Against Bravo, you're looking to send like E-Strike back for 7, or like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have gold, you send CNC or you send E-Strike. You get punished for doing that against Victor, because you just give more ways for them to block, win this thing, make these tokens, and come back. So the game plan there is, I'm going to get hit with this. Cool. Gadachi, Arsenal, and I'm setting up for this big play. I think the big plays from Katsu are there. I think right now they're huge. I was able to do like quad bonds yesterday with Harmony up. I was like, yeah, I don't know what and I play, you guys know I play Katsu. I don't know what LSS was thinking when they printed that Ancestral Harmony. That card's busted. But I think Katsu's in a good spot. I think he's in a good spot, which I'm happy about, because I was very, very concerned when this.
Yeah, no, I saw your face when we played our first couple games before the spoiler.
Yeah, I didn't have the card though. Yeah, it was different.
I want to take it. So we took it all the way to like elite aggro. Let's take it to hard control. I think Tank Dash has potential in this set.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's the same thing we said with Reinhardt. If there's a lot of mid-range in the format, if it's a lot of Warrior, a lot of Guardian, a lot of Illusionist,
and
Tank Dash is looking really solid. Yeah, if Fi is not there, if you can manage Katsu because you're equipping the Evo packages, you're like blocking 21 with a 4-card hand because you have just a ton of equipment. I'm not saying she will be top of the meta, but I think she has the potential to be well poised. But again, like Reinhardt, she is a reaction to how it shapes up. She cannot be the beginning of how it begins to shape. She's the end of how it starts to shape.
That makes sense. I mean, I feel like Uzi kind of falls in there too, right? When you look at Assassins, you said it best. Like, Uzi is mostly
I disagree.
You disagree?
Well, yeah, kind of. answer to a different problem. So I agree that she's an answer in a meta, but I think she's an answer to aggro decks, whereas Tank Dash is an answer to control decks.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I feel like they are both answers to a meta, but the opposite answers.
So that, yeah. Are there any other, like, because that's like a specific Tank Dash. Are there any other, like, specific lists that you guys think might be good?
One more.
Okay, yeah.
Kano.
Oh, but
Kano
that's
is
just Kano.
scary.
That's not like a specific build of Kano. It's just
No,
Kano.
man. With Icelander gone and the decks where they're at, again, these mid-range decks kind of struggle into Kano. If you don't go a certain speed, a certain miles per hour, then he just goes block, block. Here's 5 opt X. Block, block. Here's 6 opt X. And then he pitch decks this like 20 card turn where, on like turn 8, you've got him down to 1 and you present lethal. And he goes, no, actually, you're dead. Call an ambulance, but not for me. And you have to be able to have the right amount of Arcane Barrier with the right amount of Oasis, see them at the right time, while also presenting a certain amount of damage and threats to his face that makes him block so he can't just pitch deck. You have to really it feels like you're freaking unicycling on a tightrope to fight against this deck that's a freaking wizard that you already dedicated, 4 or 5 spots in your sideboard just to this one deck to then make it a 40-60, a 50-50. So I don't know if it's a deck that will just, win, 9-2 and then make top 8 at calling. But it's definitely a deck that I am scared to sit across from because it's not a deck that I ever sit across from and go, okay, I know what I need to do. I know how I'm going to get there. Let's rock. It's a let's see how the dice roll this time. I don't know. This is scary.
Which is like that's not what you want when you go to one of these events, right?
Right. If anything, no one's going to be prepared for you at a calling. And so if you catch them with the right sideboard to begin with, which let's be honest, out of 15 opponents, 4 of them at least won't have AB.
Garrett,
I think Kano is I think Kano is definitely a potential pick in this meta as well. And unlike Reinar and Dash, he's one that you're like, no, we're going to start this meta off with some wizard, and you could just prove yourself in that sense.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about how's Ranger looking?
That's a question for Michael. I have no idea.
Yeah. I figured it'd be kind of hard with the Guardians.
I guess
not really.
That answer in and of itself, where everyone's like, I don't know. I don't
know.
So, what I can say, Michael's been on this really cool New Horizons build where he's playing Azalea almost like it's Lexi. I have 2 Arsenal slots. I'm all gas, no breaks. Here's like a Lace with 7, go again. Use the Death Dealer, Lace with. Here's 13, dominate. It's a lot. He plays at least 6 codexes. I feel like every other turn it's codex this, codex that. It's a lot. And so where Guardian used to go, oh, it's Ranger, just block out lol, like GG, you can't do anything, you are a Ranger, you run out of arrows, I win. Now it's like, if I just block, he's going to kill me. He like on Bravo, with enough defense reactions, like 6 or 9 of them, and the fridge, he just kills me. So suddenly, Michael and maybe other people have found this Azalea that even control decks have 2 mid-range. Like, if Bravo can't fatigue it, can Tank Dash, can Reinar, like, does this just, like, is it an aggro deck that beats the control decks? I don't know. I'm not a Ranger player, I can't say, but it does seem like Azalea is finding this new identity to, like, cosplay as Lexi and be an aggro deck that can get through the just block and win strategies that they used to be prone to.
It feels like you explained the same, it's like the Ranger version of what we're trying to do on Katsu currently. If you can't play this flexible game plan, which Azalea really can. Azalea has like a very...
Oh, she cannot block well.
Yeah, and the game plan is very straightforward, but it's more of like, all right, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to send these buffed arrows that have disruption on them. It's going to mess you up, and I'm going to try to do it over and over and over again. It's not on me to change my game plan. It's on you to be able to deal with this, which is kind of like I said, like, you have less agency, but it's one straightforward, specific game plan, and you're putting the like the pressure of really winning the game on the other on your opponent. Like, can you deal with this? You know what I'm gonna do. It's up to you to answer it. So that's cool because it goes back to that big macro thing where it's like, if we're correct with what we're saying, your deck has to do 2 things. One of 2 things in this next upcoming meta. It has to be flexible enough where you can have an answer for everything that would be in the meta, or it has to do the one thing so good that the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dylan, what are you
Real quick,
thinking? Sorry, go ahead, Tuck.
just say real quick honorable mentions. I think there's two. Arachne with the new blue card and the Graven Call is really
Coercive
cool.
tendencies.
Yes. These cards give Arachne a lot of what he was missing. Is he like fixed now and the best deck ever? No, it's still Arachne, but he feels a lot better. And people like our local Justin, anyone that really puts time into Arachne, might show up at LA and be like, "No, look, this is real mid range. It's possible. It's something to keep on your radar." And then Prism's new weapon, Luminars 3, is awesome. It is so cool until you play a Dromai and you go, "Oh, this deck sucks." I think once Dromai leaves in like a year or so, Prism is going to be a force to be reckoned with, even if it's the exact cards that she has right now. Right now, she's bad because she loses to Guardian, she loses to Dromai, she can't really switchblade the deck. But keep Prism on your radar in the distant future because, oh my gosh, the new Luminaris is really cool and enables what she wants to play like. And that's all my thoughts on Heroes.
No, that's good. I mean, we're at 45 here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask both of you guys, and then I'll answer. I want to ask personally what your picks are looking like for LA, and I'm only gonna give you one on these next ones because it's gonna make the question harder. What do you think the best deck in the format will be come LA? And what's like the hot take? So for Tuck, I'm not gonna. Maybe it's the Arachne thing because that sounds a little bit like a hot take. But we'll start with you, Dylan. So Dylan, what are like one or two decks that you're thinking that it might be the answer to bring to LA? What do you think is going to be the best deck in the format? And then what's something that maybe you have a read on that's like not the most popular thing?
Yeah. You already know. My top two decks are going to be Fi and Dromai. They both do things differently, and I think they both may have a spot in the meta. Dromai probably a little bit more, but I personally think a lot of heroes are going to be represented. I don't think it's going to be like the past metas where there's this top three. I think there's going to be a lot of good decks out there. But I'll be bringing maybe Dromai or Fi.
And then instead of saying what the best deck is, because that's a hard question to answer, let's say what do you think will win LA? That's easier.
I'm gonna say Dory. I'm gonna say Dory
will win. Okay.
I'm gonna say Dory. Dory, yeah, and the reason why Wes showed yesterday that Dory may have an answer to Guardian.
Yeah, honestly.
So, I mean, if Dory has an answer to Guardian, who's gonna stop Dory? So that's my opinion.
And then, do you have any opinion, any hot takes or anything that you may be thinking everyone's like, dude, there's no way, but you're like, I don't know, man.
Man, not really. I mean, I still need to do a lot of testing. I don't have any hot takes right now. Tenacity is real good. I think you might want to run 3 of those if you're Fi. That's kind of a hot take, I guess. Most people are thinking about 1 or 2, but 3 might be the answer.
I thought that card was mid when it first got introduced, and I played with it yesterday, and you're right. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's what I got.
All right, Talk on you, man. So what do you think? What are 1 or 2 lists that you're thinking about bringing?
You know me, it's Guardian. It's Victor or Bravo. If not Guardian, then it's probably looking like Warrior. I think Kasai is a lot of fun, and as we've talked about, Dorinthia looks very potent. I think Wes's Switchblade deck has us all kind of excited. So for who's gonna win? Oh, we're gonna call Kano. We're gonna go super spicy.
Okay, all right.
Kano's going all the way. James White's gonna crap his pants. And then the hot takes. I think Tank Dash has potential. Tank Dash and Ryan are like sleeper pick if we truly are going into a mid-range meta, as it is starting to feel like for me a mid-range player. Yeah, I think they're both good answers to that sort of meta.
I think
including
I said
all the
mine
new stuff
already.
and heavy hitters.
Yeah, I think I said mine, but I would either be bringing Katsu, or I think at this point it's safe to say Victor. Playing when we switched decks yesterday, that was like a lot of fun, man. And there's something about
it's refreshing.
Yeah, and there's something about Victor that maybe it's what you said that it only goes one cycle.
One cycle.
That makes me be like, all right, this is kind of cooler than Oldham and Bravo and the rest of the stuff. I think those would be the 2 things that I pick. I honestly though, like after play testing, I would say it's like 90% I'm bringing Katsu, unless we test and it just seems really bad or a bad matchup comes out. As far as what's going to win LA, I don't know. I asked this question and didn't have an answer myself, and I had plenty of time to think of one while you guys were giving me your answers, and I didn't. So I think I don't know. I have no idea.
It's hard, right? It's
Someone.
hard.
If I yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
It's
Damn,
hard.
I asked a hard
Just being
question.
a
I came back to
hero.
it, I'm like, I couldn't have played myself like this.
But
What the
yeah,
hell?
good question.
I would
Good
say
question.
if I was gonna think what would win, I honestly think I'm gonna say I'm
Katsu.
gonna go on Team Guardian. I think they look really good.
Ooh,
I don't know
okay.
if it's Victor or Bravo, but I think my answer is cheating a little bit because both are good. So if I just say Guardian,
Like,
I give myself.
Just say Bravo. Just say Bravo.
I think
I'd
one
say
of them. I
that's
think one of them
more
will be
reliable, I
good.
think.
And you know what? You're right, Tuck. I think I'd probably say Bravo. I think
Yep.
Guardian just has. I'm playing those cards yesterday, and their cards are so good. And they got maybe if Bravo even gets like is able to use one or two cards in the new set, and he was already good before. I'm gonna say Guardian, and then it's like if I'm gonna say a hot take, I'm gonna say what I said before. Katsu is the fastest deck in the format. I hope you guys try to prove
Can't
me
wait to see
wrong.
that.
I
Yeah.
think Katsu is the fastest deck in the format right now, and I think he's gonna give some decks a little bit of trouble. And of course, I am biased, and this is the most based opinion I could ever give. But yeah, I think after testing yesterday and kind of looking at it in a different under a different microscope, I feel like I'm very very excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool set all in all for CC for limited. The speculation that we've been having, the testing we've been doing, it's been a really fun time, and it's looking like it's going to continue to be just a really fun set.
Are you guys looking forward to drafting this set?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Bright Lights was such a good draft set. Everything felt balanced. All three heroes. If you knew that hero, if you mastered that hero, you take it down. I know Dylan didn't like it.
Nah.
I'm with Dylan, bro.
That's my hot
I'm with
take.
I'm with Dylan. I did.
Well,
Good
look,
draft set.
yeah.
3 mechs is horrible.
I think
Yeah.
heavy hitters will be the same sense where if you master Victor in limited, you can 3-0 pod with Victor. If you master KO, like all of them seem to be really potent in limited if you know how to pilot that hero. They seem like commons and rares, you can really build them strong. The rare equipment and helmets are really cool. It just seems like a really balanced and fun draft set.
I got a hot take.
Yeah, hell yeah, hit me with it.
Reinar is going to be the best deck in limited.
Yeah, and
Best
Intimidate
hero.
too strong.
Reiner's going to be the best hero. Yeah.
In limited.
In limited. And draft.
Intimidate just
and-
no gameplay.
What do you mean?
Like is Intimidate
Oh.
just getting damage through and you just kind
I
of
think-
lose to it? Is what you're saying?
I think he can't be fatigued. I don't think he can be fatigued.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest tool in limited.
Makes
So
sense.
That's
I think
pretty
Reiner's
good.
going to
Yeah,
be
no, that makes
pretty good.
sense. Okay.
At least initially, I think early weeks, Reiner's going to be. We're going to see Reinar winning a lot of events. That's my hot
Makes
take.
sense.
Yeah, I
That's
like
right.
it. I like it. You heard it from
Yeah.
Dylan. Force Reiner every time you win every pod.
Yeah, just intimidate them.
I'm excited. I'm excited for draft this set because I'm also on Team Dylan where Bright Lights was cool for like a week and then I was like, dude, I'm so sick of seeing the same cards because like
Yeah.
no matter what hero you pick, it almost felt like you could like flip a coin and the card pool was still gonna. And like, don't take it from me. I'm not good at draft. So I just people that are good at draft just heard what I said. And they're like, oh my god. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it felt boring because I felt to me like you were drafting the best cards, and then like sometimes the hero that you picked was like not as important. Where in a set that has different heroes, like obviously how you draft Brute is going to be significantly different with how you draft Guardian, and significantly different with how you draft Warrior.
Right.
I like that part of it where it adds like another element of like, oh, I'm just not taking the best cards and then picking my hero after. You kind of have to, you definitely have to commit much earlier. So
Well, the Bright Lights, we had to draft 42 cards and run 40, or at least present 37 of them. Now we're going to return to drafting 42 cards and only needing to present 30 of them. And that will be a really refreshing after finishing Bright Lights. And I think, yeah, you're right about like you need to commit to a hero pretty early when drafting this, but it's going to feel a lot better again to have lanes that you can stay in for the first like pack and a half compared to just like I need to run every single thing that I pick because then I'm like my last pick in a pack that I'm just passing and have to take is a blue hyperdriver or just
you
something
think
like
there's
terrible.
more skill expression than in a set like this because you have less cards to you have you're not kind of just playing whatever cards you get.
Kind of. I don't think it's more about skill expression is my point as much as it will be more comfortable and less stressful because you can grab like a really crappy pick or pivot and suddenly these 7 cards aren't playable for you and go, okay, well I still present 30 or 32, and I'm okay with that.
That makes sense. And if you're listening to this and you heard anything that I said about draft, listen to 0 of it and listen to the battle hardened winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hate draft in this new set too. You can really hate
Yes,
draft.
you
and
can.
Bright Lights,
Oh my
right?
gosh, you could.
Bright
You
Lights,
could
you couldn't
not.
really hate draft because
No, you couldn't afford it because you had to run every card.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another element of this draft this set that's going to be kind of cool.
I'm excited.
Going back
I'm
to that.
excited. If I'm excited for draft, then it must be a good set. This set, LSS, I feel like they did a lot of good things correct with this set, where they introduced a lot of new stuff that is all shiny and is still good without power creeping the rest of the stuff completely out of the game. Like, I'm very excited for heavy hitters. I'm very excited for LA. It feels like an eternity away. But I can't wait. All the testing and stuff that we've been doing has been so much fun, and playing with the new cards is a ton of fun. All the new mechanics and stuff, it's just great. I really like this set, and I'm not shitting on Bright Lights, but I'm kind of shitting on Bright Lights. I thought it was okay, but like, except from Dash.io kind of surprised taking that one calling because everyone thought it was ass cheeks tier, and then it like won. It like went undefeated. But I think really a lot of that was just because people didn't know what the deck did. So you have like that surprise factor. I feel like a lot of the stuff that came out, like, I mean, I was on Star City today, and I pre-ordered cards that were Guardian. You know what I mean? Like, I'm stoked for the new stuff. Yeah, I'm stoked for the new stuff. I can't wait. Before we wrap up, any shout outs or anything else, any mentions before we take off? Tuck, I'll start with you.
Me on the spot like that?
Yo, Dylan, I'll start with you, bro.
Yeah, no. You know, I just want to shout out the Colorado Springs fab scene. It's a great scene. A lot of great people here. Also want to shout out Iron Lion. We got some news coming out soon. We got some cool stuff happening with Iron Lion, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, that's all I got.
Tuck, any shout outs?
Well, for one, shout out to the rest of the team because they've really been helping us a lot here. We talked a lot about like Wes's his Switchblade Dorinthia list. It's awesome. I know like Dylan said, the whole community we have here in the Springs is so cool. We are blessed to be here. We last night would have had a normal armory. Something came up. Oh, the tournament organizer wasn't able to host it. Instead of us going, okay, no fab tonight, we said, hey, let's all meet up 3 hours early, and stayed there for 7 hours playing nothing but heavy hitters proxies. And we had a good 10, 12 people there last night just jamming games. It was a really awesome time. It showed that we love playing the game. We love seeing each other. We love dedicating and learning this stuff. We're constantly hitting each other up in Discord, plus, talking about working out and stuff. Like in our first episode, again, go check it out if you are just really fiending before next WUTANG Wednesday. The Denver scene is also just super helpful and super supportive to us. Just everything in Colorado, flesh and blood. We are blessed to be here.
Hell yeah. I threw my hands up when you said your answer because that was going to be mine. I was going to shout out the rest of the people on the squad.
Yeah, now you're on the spot. Who's your shout out?
3 people. It's tough, man. You guys
shut up, my mom, my dad.
Yeah. I'm going to say, and this might be a repeat, shout out to everyone that keeps giving me podcast ideas. We're doing these episodes bi-weekly and sometimes weekly because this one is coming out a week after the last one, and then we'll go a week after that to stay on the same schedule, and then we'll go back to bi-weekly. But you guys are making it super simple and easy to stay consistent because we're all getting a ton of good feedback from these episodes. If you guys have anything that you want to be covered, hit me up in Discord, hit me up in the YouTube comments, hit me up in person. I'm sure, a lot of the people that are listening to this know me personally. But all the ideas are great. All the support is great. And we're doing this for fun. I don't care if you subscribe. We don't care about any of that. We're doing this for fun and to get info out there and to just grow the community. And like these guys said, the spring scene is it's popping off. It's crazy. The Colorado scene together, but the spring scene there's something special happening. So shout out to everyone in the spring. Shout out to the people that have given me. If you've written a comment on any of the YouTube videos, then keep doing that. I appreciate it so much. All the people that have said anything and keep giving us recommendations. We will definitely have K-Wood on an episode. I'm gonna have Max on an episode. We're going to talk about deck building in the future. We talked about Garrett. Garrett's going to come up. We're going to talk about numbers. I want to have K-Wood. We want to do an episode on playing with logic versus playing off feeling. So there's these players that are very like, well, you can get this much value on this card. And I'm said it that way because I'm not real good at math like that. So I play off feeling. But I like to go back and forth and talk about like perceived value of cards and all this stuff. So we have some really, really cool episodes upcoming. And we'll definitely have another episode to follow up off of this once we start to keep play testing and stuff. I'm going to have both you guys back on and we'll talk about how we were right, how we were wrong, and things that we didn't even uncover and didn't see coming. So, yo, I appreciate you guys. It's Wu-Tang Wednesday. We'll be back next week, actually, and then in 2 weeks. But we appreciate you guys. If you guys are local and you see us or we're in Denver or whatever, anyone from the Blood Rush fellas, come shout us a holler and give us some more ideas. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Peace.